Right, let's jump right in. So going through these albums, obviously we've got a list. We've ranked them from worst to best. At the bottom, and I'm doing this from memory now. I want to see if I can remember it. At the bottom, we have Hotter Than Hell. Next, we have Rock and Roll Over. By the way, feel free to interject and correct me. Then it's the self-titled?
Yep.
Self-titled? Yeah. Then Peter Criss, which is an underrated gem, by the way.
No.
Oh, is it not? Love Gun?
Love Gun, yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, okay. Then Peter Criss, then Dress to Kill. Then, Destroyer? Yeah, Destroyer.
Yeah.
Destroyer.
I think so.
Destroyer, Paul Stanley, and then at the top we have Ace Frehley's solo album, which actually, to be honest with you, since we discussed it and talked about it, I've been thinking about it since, and actually, yeah, it's quite a nice album.
It means we're on a hell of a roll right now. I mean, Gene could be the next one on top of the list. We've gone Paul, Ace.
I mean,
could be.
I would have put Pete. I mean, I was going to put
Alex.
Peter on. I wanted to put Peter on the top of the list. So actually, I rate the solo project quite highly. I think it's pretty good, but that might change.
You do.
Today. Who knows? But today we're going to be talking about the last of the 4 solo albums, which is Gene's. It was for a lot of the background I have here, I've taken from Gene's autobiography. Most of this just to cite my source. But as we know, our 4 heroes have split up to look for hits. During this period, Gene started seeing Cher. And he was hanging out with movie stars such as Jane Fonda and other people. He was spending a lot of time in California, away from New York, and the rest of the guys in the band, this didn't sit well with them. Peter and Ace, particularly, felt that Gene had stopped prioritizing the band and was instead sort of living this big shot Hollywood lifestyle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would just, if I were them, I mean, I'd just relish being away from him. I'd just be like, oh, thank fuck we've gotten away from this fucking guy and he's got a girlfriend. like, I don't have to listen to that, like, passive-aggressive monotone anymore. Gene said he felt it was kind of weird hanging out with all these actors and he preferred hanging out with... oh, sorry. No, I've got that wrong. He said he felt weird hanging out with all these actors because, unlike musicians, actors could string a sentence together. He said because the band had... in it. He said because the band had been so sheltered as to not give away their identities, that none of them had great people skills, which would explain a lot to me. I think that comes out in the music quite well. I don't think you know. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I don't think you know, write Christine 16 as, you know, a fully functioning socially adequate person. Life with Cher was idyllic, according to Gene. However, he had more important things to be working on. He had his solo album. And according to Gene, and this is a quote, this is a direct quote, he wanted his solo album to be the greatest show on earth, with choirs and tons of special guest stars. His initial vision had everyone from Lassie to Jerry Lee Lewis, who's another paedophile, by the way, and and get this, big one, and John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
I saw that. Yeah.
Christ,
Can you imagine?
Christ on a bicycle. It gets worse as well. None of these musicians ended up on the album. Jerry Lee Lewis had a scheduling conflict. So did Lassie. I bet it was. I bet it was not important. Whatever Jerry Lee Lewis had going on, I bet it was just like mowing his grass or going to the tip or something like that. It was not important at all.
Go to the playground or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, either that or they just lied. They didn't want to upset him. So like, oh yeah, I'm a bit busy on that day. Sorry, man. As for Lennon and McCartney, he made their management an offer to get them on the album, and they just said no. It was a flat no. So instead of getting Lennon and McCartney, which is obviously going to be a long shot anyway, because they were not getting on at this time, he hired two singers from Beatlemania, the Beatles tribute stage show, to do the singing. You cheap sack of shit. Absolute fucking cheap arsehole.
The balls of that man at that time in the 70s to be like, let me bring John Lennon in, and I'm guessing to do the sort of, you know, the kind of rubber soul sort of era Beatles style that we kind of hear on this album.
Yeah,
or whatever. Like the goal of Gene to be like, yeah, Lennon will be in for that. He wouldn't mind jumping on that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, man. That's so true.
It is out fucking rageous.
Mate, it's like calling up Damon Albarn and being like, you know, like the old Blur stuff. I'm kind of thinking that. Could I get you on, like, you know, that stuff you used to do with Blur?
It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. It's insulting. Also, they weren't getting on at this time. The two of them, they fucking hated each other. And like the goal of this fucking guy
He's
to think, oh wait, no, I can bring them together for my solo album. It's just fucking outrageous. And not only that, but you just leave it, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh well, I can't get Lennon and McCartney. I'll just sing it. It'll be fine. You don't get people to fucking like a tribute band
man.
To sing their bits. Who the fuck do you think you are?
That says something about what you just said about like the social skills, man. Like, he literally doesn't think like, oh, we can't get them on the album. Well, we'll just, you know, anyway, I'm going for a kind of Beatles vibe, Beatles kind of thing. Instead he goes, well, if we can't get the real guys, well, we'll go for the next best thing. Like, no one thinks that way.
It is one of the most like calculated, paint by numbers, fucking like just calculated approach to that problem I've ever heard in my life. It's the most clinical, lacking in artistic merit attitudes towards that problem that you could ever conceive. It's ridiculous, and I can't hear it either. There's bits on the album, like, and we'll get into the album in a bit. Like, there's bits in the album where I'm thinking, oh, he's trying to sound like the Beatles, but I can't hear anything. Whoever the tribute singers he's got, I couldn't tell if it was him or them.
Yeah,
at all. I can't hear them at all on this. It was fucking stupid.
Yeah,
fucking stupid. Anyway, we're off to a good start. So, he did have other guest stars on the album though that did perform. Joe Perry from Aerosmith. He did a solo on the album. Again, can't hear it. I didn't bother to look up where it was. But I can't hear it. I can't. Oh, is it? Out of curiosity, is it on Radioactive?
I'm not sure. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is on Radioactive. Okay.
Okay. And one other, I think maybe Tunnel of Love. I can't remember the other one.
Oh, we did two. Oh shit. Recording took place in Oxford, and according to Gene, in order to complete this is fucking ridiculous now. In order to complete his Beatles obsession, he chose to record down the road from George Harrison's house. Like, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. He sounds like a stalker. Honestly. Just phoning them up and like parking outside their house. Like what like just leave them fucking be. Anyway, whenever he got another guest star, on the album. He flew them out and treated them like royalty. He also made a point of playing no bass on the album, only guitar, which is like just odd. Like is anyone like looking at him or looking at most bass players and going like, "Oh, let me see you try a 6-string, then." You know, like, show us your stuff. It's just kind of like, what's the point? Like, what are you trying to prove? It's bizarre.
It's funny because at many points on the album, I thought like, he's kind of showing off his bass skills quite a lot here. That's not bad shit. And then I read that he's not even playing it.
No, he's not even playing it. Actually, which is true. I had the same reaction because I actually thought, the bass playing on this is pretty good. Actually, a lot of slap.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of nice stuff going on, a lot of complex stuff going on. But then it's not even him playing it. So what's the point? Unless he was lying, unless he was like I wanted people to think that was me playing bass, so I got a better bass player to play it.
Maybe.
I think that's possible because they lie a lot. In fact, to be honest with you, I can't think of another band that lies this much to their audience. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, Sean Delaney produced the album, and he brought in Michael Kamen to do the string arrangements. There's a bunch of people that he refers to being on the album, and I haven't got a clue who half of them are, apart from Donna Summer, Joe Perry, and Rick Nielsen. Other than that, I haven't got a fucking clue who any of them are. And I can't really hear them either. I can't hear Rick Nielsen at all, really. Well, no, he did a guitar solo, to be fair. The album gets released on September 18th, 1978. Same as the rest of them. And it was the most successful out of the four. There was no hits off it, of course. However, its one single, Radioactive, was the second highest. It was the second highest charting single next to New York Groove of the four. And it kind of stalled in the 20s, so it didn't break the top 10s. It wasn't like a hit. You know, it's kind of quickly forgotten about. Dropped pretty quick. But it did. It still charted. So, out of curiosity, before we get into the album, and this is I mean, I've asked this about the other solo albums. I thought I should probably ask it here, but I think it's quite a hard question to answer. What do you want out of a Gene Simmons solo album?
Well, I personally want him to actually lean into the whole demon persona more. Because even though it's come up quite either just okay, like decent, or poor results in the past, at least it's interesting, and at least it's something where I could point to and say he is doing something that not many others at that time were doing, at least in the mainstream in America. And I want to see like what he thinks this demon character is, and you know, we know he can do it on stage, or at least he has his image very like he presents himself very well on the stage, but I want to see more of that in his music. So I was hoping we'd get a heavier, or at least a more campy metal sort of feel from the album. Yeah, Danny, how about you?
I didn't know how I was going to answer that. You just said it perfectly, Alex. I didn't realize that's what I
agree.
wanted. I want Alice Cooper. I want heavy metal. I want theatrical, demonic. I want over the top. If he was, but to be fair, I guess I cynically knew that's not what I was gonna get. But that's what I want. That's definitely what I wanted going in. Yeah, yeah.
I completely agree. I agree with that sentiment. I mean, it's a hard one to answer because I'm familiar with his body of work and I'm familiar with him as a songwriter. So, you know, naively, you would want to go in and be like, all right, I want this to be quite heavy. I want this to be quite heavy. I want this to be pretty bombastic, you know, evil. But me personally, because I'm familiar with him as a songwriter, I was like, I know that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. In fact, I mean, you sort of know going into. I mean, at least I thought I knew going into it. It was going to be the most tame out the 4, and I think that is not to give too much away. I think that is true. Very, very,
How
very
weird.
true.
Yeah.
It's shocking. It's shocking so much so that actually, getting into the cover. I know that with the past solo albums, I've sort of, encouraged us to maybe just skim over them because they're the same cover. However, I do feel that this warrants a sort of a brief discussion. The cover, I think that it's worth talking about. Gene looks probably the most menacing, or at least trying to look the most menacing out of any of the other covers. And on any sort of cover that they've put out, if you were going to put like all their covers in a row, this is the heaviest looking. Do you know what I mean? If you were going to find this in a bin, you'd be like, okay,
absolutely.
That would be heavy. And it's by virtue of the fact that the other members aren't there. Because as a fourth, he's like the evil one. And then the other guys kind of balance it out. So you're not expecting like super heavy, but like maybe, maybe it's got that sort of bent on it. So it presents itself as quite a heavy record. And I think that is genuinely because he's by himself. And when you look at it, you're thinking, yeah, Alice Cooper, he's Rob Zombie. And because of that, I would say more than any other album that we've covered by them, this is by far the biggest disconnect between the music and the cover by a fucking country mile. Like, this looks like, it's going to be, he essentially, you could take it back to him originating Corpse Paint. They're like black metal artists, mate. Like he genuinely looks pretty heavy, many messing, and essentially what you get is baroque pop on this album. Like the disappointment must have been unbearable, and I know that we've said that like it's pointless at this stage to comment about how the music and the covers and the look don't match up, but this is something else. This is like taking it to another level, I think. What do you guys think?
I think you said it there, Alexi. I mean, we've already mentioned, I think, more than once now in previous discussions that this album sold the most because of its front cover. Because they were getting a larger percentage of their audience being young teenagers, probably mostly male, if not entirely, who wanted some monster shit. They wanted some heavy shock rock shit. The same reason they wanted the same thing that we just described. We wanted going into this album. They wanted an Alice Cooper, some heavy metal, and like you said, Alexi, that there is the disappointment must have been incredible. It's not this incredible front cover by any means, but like you said, he really did influence all those black metal guys. Although you could argue Arthur Brown was much earlier, but still, he wasn't as famous. Gene influenced those guys with his image, and big disconnect.
But you've got the thing is though you've got if you had, because I sort of look at these records, the solo ones, and I'm like, take it out of the Kiss context and you take this out of a record bin, and for the most part they've been pretty consistent. Like Paul's, I think his image or his face on the front matches up with the music. I think Ace's in that regard is the best, definitely the best. I think that there's kind of this there's enough experimentation on it. There's kind of like a lot of sounds on it. They're kind of like spacey, a lot of echo, a lot of delay and stuff like that. It was quite a forward-thinking album for the time, and there's a great synergy there. Peter's, I mean, I haven't got a fucking clue, but I think it still works better than this. This, if I were like, I've never heard like Kiss in general, and this is it. This is the product. It's just this by itself, contextually by itself, and you pick it up and you're like, what the fuck is this? Look at this guy. Like, that is crazy insane. Like I've never seen anything else. Like I thought, oh, fucking hell, I'm gonna buy that, and then you get this. It's embarrassing, I think.
Yeah, and it's we got to remember it's pre-internet, so nobody was, except radio, no one was hearing these songs, and they probably weren't getting much radio play. So you just had the cover to go off. And as a young kid, I know which one I'd have picked. It would have been this album. Sorry, Alex, what do you think?
No, I think I kind of want to get started and talk about the tracks, because what we're talking about leads into the first track with Radioactive, of how it starts. So should we just get into that? Yeah. Or do you guys have anything else to say?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I think so. It's a fucking it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And for someone that claims to have a lot of business sense, it's fucking stupid. And I'll get into this later, but actually I think it almost borders on insulting your audience, I think. I think he's trying to educate his audience. I think he thinks that he panders to moronic 14-year-old boys and he wants to educate them with this shit. I think it's fucking embarrassing.
I think that's probably
it's
true.
It's fucking embarrassing and lame. Lame as fuck. Anyway, we start with some pretty evil sound effects. And some kind of interesting string sounds. It sounds quite menacing. Sounds quite evil. And, there's kind of choral, pagan-y sort of vocal mantras, which actually I quite like. It reminds me a bit of like something that would be in like The Wicker Man or something like that. It's quite interesting. It's kind of folklore-y. And I actually quite like it. I actually thought it was good. And leading on to what we were talking about, the front cover, I was like, oh, maybe we are getting the album. Maybe this is the album that you want. And then it just goes off a fucking cliff. It goes off a fucking cliff. The song starts, and it's just the same old fucking 1950s plod. The level of disappointment is unbearable, to the point where it makes me reevaluate the intro and said, well, actually, I kind of wish you hadn't have done that, because you had me going. I was like, well, maybe I am going to get this album that you want. And then the actual song starts. And it's like, oh, fuck off. Fuck off. It was bad enough you did it with the cover. And then you did it with the music. Then you did it with the intro. Also, Selective and Radioactive, I swear, don't rhyme. They don't sound like they rhyme. Or somehow he's made it sound like that they don't rhyme. The lyrics are shit. He's a bad guitar player. He's a rubbish guitar player. Or just a completely uninteresting guitar player. His voice is terrible. I would rather listen to Jacob Rees-Mogg read the back of a condom wrapper than hear him sing. Like, honestly, he's just unbelievably dull as a singer. The drums in the chorus are mixed way too high. Way too high. Especially as the drummer is playing the toms. I mean, it sounds like a caveman is hitting the toms. It's so fuddy. It's unbelievably fuddy. It feels like your skull's being caved in. It's dull derivative crap. It's shit. I don't like it at all. Alex, what do you think?
Yes. Okay. So I'll take this in two parts. Talk about the actual song first. I agree with you, Alexi. It's very dull, and we've heard this so much from Kiss as a band as a whole. And even though, yes, now we can see they're more confident with adding different instrumentation and backing singers, like we've seen a lot in the solo albums, and which makes it slightly more interesting.
Yes.
The song itself, it's that, like, really, it's going back to the full band studio albums where it's just short verse, very repetitive chorus, short verse, chorus, and fade out. Like, they're just really, really dull. You can tell they wrote them incredibly quickly and didn't put much thought into them. So the song itself, it's not. I don't think it's awful, but really, it's very dull. And when you're a minute into the song, you've heard it all already. So that's what I think about the song.
Yeah.
And then what you're saying, Lexi, about the intro, so yes, absolutely, because I didn't know very much about this album going into it. I knew that it was considered like the messiest or like the worst reviewed, should we say? But like I said, I was
Peters,
going.
Peters is considered the worst. This. In fact, there's something that I wanted to bring up is actually This is not really spoken about at all. Really, he did another solo album. He's only made 2 solo albums. He did another one called Arsehole in like 2006. I want to say something like that. That is considered one of the worst albums ever made. That is like very. He does a cover of Firestarter by The Prodigy on it, which is beyond your most negative impressions of what it would be. It's worse. It's absolutely atrocious. It sounds like a 50-year-old man doing karaoke. It's absolutely shocking. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Fair point. So with the whole thing with the intro, right? Because like I said, on the first listen, I had the exact same experience as you, Alexi, where I heard it and I was like, oh, like we're gonna lean into that, get more of that, great. And then they just pull the rug from under us. When I looked up online about people's reactions and tried to find out more about the album, I saw some people defending that intro and the album as a whole, being like, well, the point of the solo albums is to, kind of like see the influences of each member and see like how they're all different and where they're different kind of musical stylings. But I really don't, that really doesn't work for me, because if you're going to sort of do this whole, oh, you think I'm going to do like a heavy metal album, but actually I'm more of a musician than you think. I've got an eclectic range of influences. If you're going to do that and pull the rug from under the audience, why make the song something that we've heard from Kiss so much in the past? It's not a swerve. It's not like, oh, didn't you realize that like it's going to be this sort of album? Because it's just something we've heard so much from them before. So I really cannot understand this as an opening track or like an opening move for the album. Go on, Lexi.
Actually, I think you make a really good point there, actually, which is a lot of the songs on this are just like kind of Kiss songs. They're just kind of like dressed with arty crap, like just arty bollocks, pointlessly thrown in.
Yeah, very little thought put into it. So yeah, other than that, I don't get this one, and there's not much to say about it. Danny, you got anything?
You guys have both analysed this much more deeply than I have. You're both very right about what you just said about him kind of wanting to prove something about how like he's not just this heavy metal guy. He's got an eclectic taste, and but then to just, like you said, Alexi, also it's just Kiss shit with bells and whistles. I mean, and even the intro, I could take or leave some horror effects at the start of an album. That's not going to blow me away. I like the satanic choir thing at the start. That's fine. But then, of course, like you two, it's just fuck off. As soon as the song comes in, I thought, how could this sound so old? It's 1978 and it sounds so old.
We're getting to the 80s now almost.
His songs are all so... Yeah, his songs are all so fucking samey. It's the same old Gene shit. He could not have written this song and thought that it carries on from the intro. And again, like you said, Alex, maybe it was a, pull the rug from under us. Like, look what I could do. But then, why this?
Yeah,
this is just another fucking boring Gene song. Mm. I was trying to be optimistic coming into the album, which is why I was kind of fucking with the little the choir at the start. But there's so little I could write that was good about this. I thought maybe his Vox are marginally better than on a lot of Kiss, but it might just be the production. Because the production's, again, not great, but I could hear his words. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. The bass is good, but it's not even him. The drums sound better than Peter, and I wrote boring guitar solo, and then I realized it was Joe Perry, which is just funny. It's really not a good solo. And that's it. That's all I have to say about it. Let's move on. It's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's the same old Gene stuff. I think that's why I reacted so negatively to it. Really. Because again, like Alex, you made a good point about like, oh, this is him trying to prove himself, and he's just giving us the same shit, just with like little pointless little arty accoutrements. Fucking stupid. Burning Up with Fever. Alex, what are your impressions?
I'm going to be very negative on these first two tracks. Even though actually I did write for Burning Up with Fever. That for Gene, this is not terrible, is what I wrote in notes. Like for my expectations.
Yeah, this.
That's kind.
This I think is this actually I think is the best song on the album, but I really don't think that's saying much at all. It's marginal though.
I don't think
it's
so.
like marginal. It's like thin hairs. Anyway, carry on.
Well, yeah, because the sort of the groove towards the end, like there's something there, and it's fine, and it's repetitive, but whatever. But I did also feel as though like this song particularly kind of shows how poor of a vocalist and writer Gene is, because you can tell with this track he is trying incredibly hard, and he puts, if you listen to it, he throws about 10 different hooks into this song. He's really trying to add all these different lines and different sort of vocal melodies, and none of them work. It's a really sort of forgettable song vocally, and I say you can hear he's trying his best, but it ends up being quite dull, and I can't really. There's nothing for me to grab a hold of. Yeah, so I think the basic groove is just okay, but I really didn't enjoy this one. And again, another one where halfway through the song, I'm like, okay, I'm done with.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Danny, what do you think?
There's a thing with intros on this album.
Oh
It's really
yeah,
one of the best things about this album. There's a nice little weird out of tune guitar harmony thing at the start. That's maybe my favorite part of the whole album. Just that part. And then I guess it's the second song, and I wrote "Oh fuck off" twice in my notes so far. Just as soon as it comes in, it's again we're back. How many times do I have to write? He's really not a good singer. He's really not a good singer.
He really isn't. He really isn't.
Like, and even, yeah, and Donna Summers is on this one, and she's a great singer,
yeah.
but it's so wasted here. It's not enough to lift this nothingy chorus.
Why? Oh, you know what I was thinking. You know what I was thinking as well.
Well,
like, why did none of that? I mean, bar Paul, obviously, but particularly Gene should have done this. If you're gonna get guest stars, get them to sing the fucking tracks.
It is.
Just get them to do a fucking guitar part that's buried in the fucking mix. Like, get them to sing it. Write them a track and then sing it. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's not enough. And it's just so unsexy. It's ploddy. There's a little bit of nice lead guitar that weaves in and out of the verses, but the actual solo itself is nothingy. And I just zoned out. I zoned out on this one, and I don't like it. It's a strip club song. Alexi?
Yeah, just add on that. Every track, I think every track in this album has like a lyric or something that just really made me scratch my head. And for this one, the whole like, I'm burning out with fever, and you're the fever inside, I think is such a terrible line. Like, there were so many tracks I was like, what? Wait. I had to like reread them a few times. Like, what do you mean by that? He's so bad at like articulating himself sometimes.
Yeah, there's another sort of pointless intro. And going back to his weird fucking Beatles fetish, whatever you fucking call it. I actually think that with all the orchestration and weird parts that he's trying to like make a Sgt. Pepper's with a lot of this album, feels like it's very Sgt. Pepper's or trying to be Sgt. Pepper's, just with no concept whatsoever, just loads of bombast. Which just ultimately makes it sound very, very, very hollow. And, you know, I mean, I don't really like people that throw the word pretentious around, but very pretentious. The acoustic guitar, you know, goes out of tune. Well, the first time it goes out of tune, you can hear him going, lovely, like that. And that is
Really?
so hellish. Like, so hellish. It makes me, like, hyperventilate. It's the stuff of fucking nightmares.
I didn't hear that.
And before we get this bizarre intro, he counts in as if it's going to be really fast and really, really heavy. He goes like 1, 2, 3, 4. Loads of delay on his voice, and it just never gets there. Just all put together. I just don't know what the vibe is. What's the point? What's he going for? It's just all over the place. It's an example of like less is definitely more in this case. Like, he claims to. It's almost like he kind of claims to understand what Bob Ezrin did with Destroyer and just boils it down to just like, just put loads of weird little shit on it and around it, and it will sound like that without really understanding, artistically the fundamentals of what he was actually doing. Despite all that, I'd say this is probably my favorite on the album. That really is not saying a lot at all. Like, I don't really like it. His vocals are just dreadful. The playing's quite tight. The groove isn't, I guess, too bad. I mean, it's just kind of ploddy. I think his vocals. I think because his vocals are quite buried in the mix, particularly in the chorus, it's not totally offensive. It's not good, but I think it's serviceable. I also as well really like the bass playing. I do think the bass playing is good, but he's not playing it, so what's the point? I mean, like, you have the session bass player is great, but it's not him. It's important as well to note that Ace had a lot of experimentation on his album, but it was cohesive. It was cohesive and well thought out, and it leaned more into sound effects and tone and different noises. And because of that, it came across as a lot more progressive and forward thinking, as opposed to this, which I think just sounds really old and pompous, like very, 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 very pompous. But no, not good. Not good. See You Tonight. Danny, what do you make? What do you make of this?
There was another nice little quick intro. I can't remember. I think it was like a little guitar thing again, but even quicker. They're getting shorter and shorter, these intros. It sounds like he's trying to write a Rubber Soul song. Like, it's not good, but I did get, and it's quite generous to say, but I got a sort of feeling that's similar to Hard Luck Woman and Beth, where I'm like, well, it's not exactly like the rock and roll music's working out for these guys. Why not? Why not do this? And actually, it wasn't like, oh, what's this folk rock bullshit? It's the best song so far, in my opinion. Maybe the best on the album. Shit, I haven't thought about that. He's putting on a less stupid voice, if it is him singing. Maybe it's the Beatles Mania guys. I could do without the strings. They sound very unearned, I thought. They just seem tacked on. The song doesn't overstay its welcome, but just, I wrote at the end, to be clear, his like the vocals are still subpar here. I believe all vocalists could make something good out of their voice. I think anyone thinks that. So I'm not saying like, oh, he just can't sing full stop, but he does not know how to use his voice well at all. He never applies it appropriately. But this is closer than we get than most of his other songs. Actually, compared to how I wrote about the other tracks on this album, I'm just realizing now it's quite positive, actually, compared to the others. It's fine. It's fine. Alexi, what do you think?
I think this is one of many, many weird Beatles rip-offs that are on this album. It's like he's Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, and he's going to like skin all of them and make a suit out of them. It's just it's very dull. There's nothing much to latch on to. It's very, 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 very boring. That's it. That's all I've got. It's just rubbish. Beatles rip-off. Alex, what do you think?
So this one and some of the other sort of Beatle-y ones on the album, I find it quite difficult to talk about. You can see that, like, this means a lot to him, and I read some quotes about how much the Beatles mean to him. And he clearly understands like the sound or like what he's trying to, the sort of he knows what he's after on this one. But it's like, yeah, you ever watch like TV in a different country, or like gone to YouTube and been like Kanye West type beat sort of thing, where it's like people who their job is to like replicate somebody else's like sound, but it's not them, but they understand what it needs to be, but it's very off for whatever reason. And this is kind of it, where if you didn't focus on it, you'd be like, oh, this sounds like a 60s sort of Brit Invasion sort of B track sort of thing. But then when you actually like focusing on it, like the sort of the lyrics again, really trying to figure out what it is. It doesn't make sense in the track. Like he's saying, tonight you're gonna get it, or we're missing it. Most of the track sounds like a fret, like he's fretting this woman. The like, don't worry, babe. Tonight you're gonna get it. When we're together, you're gonna get it, baby. Like, and yeah, I really wasn't into the lyrics, and also like the breathy. I'm guessing that's what you were talking about earlier, Lexi. The sort of Beatlemania guys. I think they're brought in to do small stuff like that, but it doesn't work. And it's too breathy and didn't fit well in the mix.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? That had he got Lennon and McCartney, was he just going to get them to do fucking backing vocals? Like an absolute maniac.
Yeah. So this one, it's so weird on the album. These tracks, like they don't fit in at all. But like I didn't hate this one. Like I say, in the background, it's fine. It's just forgettable. So I'm not going to be as that negative on it, but weird choice. Should we move on?
Again, it's just like, why would you, obviously there's, talking about pulling the rug out from underneath you, obviously you get the cover and you think, oh, it's going to be really, really heavy, and you're just putting this shit on it. Like, it's not edgy or surprising or like dangerous just to make the most boring stuff possible on an album when you've got such an exciting front cover. I don't understand what the fucking point is. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
and who's this for? Like, who in the fan base is like looking for this, or is going to be amazed by this? Who's going to be like, whoa, Gene can do a song like this?
Listen to this. Like someone that claims to be like incredibly business savvy. It's bizarre. Like, who's going to buy this? 14-year-old fucking spotty boys that like bought Love Gun aren't going to fucking like this. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And it's not like, but it's not like bold either. It's not like bold as in like, oh, they made some really like, that was a really like bold sort of choice, because it just sounds so inoffensive and boring. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Tunnel of Love. Alex, what are your thoughts?
If we're going to talk about the intros, I think this one has a nice comical bass where it's like, wow, sort of thing, which I don't mind. The rest of the song, though, it's been a while since we've been doing these solo albums. It's been a while since we've had a truly cringy moment like this. We have to go back to maybe Love Gun or something. This is just the worst. Actually, it's not the worst. I think there's other tracks in there that are even worse. But
no, it's not the worst. It's not the worst on the album. It's not the worst on the album. But I think it's close. It's pretty close.
It's so difficult to listen to. Like, I can't even like properly analyze the song very well, because it's just what he's talking about, and he just talks about it in the worst possible way. He's so bad at like being sexy or dominant or whatever it is. Like, you're just a victimless crime, which again doesn't make sense because you're a victim. It happens all the time. Yeah, you'll have an overstay and your bill is my pay. Like, again, that's normal. I had to read it a few times. Like, I really don't like. I think I can't wrap my head around it. Like that, him thinking that's a great line. Also, you are the lock and I'm the key. You know what you do to me. A lock doesn't do something to a key. Like, really simple stuff here. Like, he always gets those metaphors mixed up, and he always switches between like, oh, I'm the one doing something to you. Oh, but no, I'm the sex one, and you're the one who's interrogating me.
I have no idea what the vibe is on this at all. The chorus has so many fucking parts that are just like slowly sort of ping-ponging off each other. It's not like busy, because I think that would imply that it was fast. It's more just like messy. It's really fucking messy. The second verse, you know, there's just this really pointless fucking guitar bend that just doesn't serve a purpose, and then it turns into like a chug, which just does nothing because it's so slow. It doesn't propulse it at all. But it's kind of like slow. Is it meant to be kind of like sexy and like, you know, kind of like, you know, have a bit of a swagger to it? But it just sounds unbelievably messy. It's really, really warbly and boring. This one, really, really, really crap. Fucking awful. All right, Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, it's really bad. Just a feeling of like, and we're back. We're back. The same old shit. It's just shit like, Alex, you're talking about the lyrics. There's like something disease, you'll have to do as I please. It's pathetic lyrics. Just the metaphor is so lame. Tunnel of love. Oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Very clever, Gene. It's just this aimless fucking chorus. I couldn't sing it now. It's got no hook to it. I thought, well, the drums are a bit, you know, above Peter, and I thought the solo was, you know, better than Joe Perry's first attempt. But there's no feel, there's no groove, it's not sexy, there's no larger than life or party feeling to this. I don't like it. Let's move on.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's fucking awful. Really shit. It's just really bad. It's really bad.
It's really fucking bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. Really bad. True Confessions. There's a weird sort of chords change in the turnaround that I just don't like at all. I think Peter would have sung it way better. Way better. In fact, this kind of feels like something that would have been on his solo album, just with a lot worse singing, worse production, less energy, and just worse songwriting. In general, the plot has decreased to like a stagger at this point, and it's just really, really hard to get into, hard to penetrate, hard to listen to. Choirs. What's the point? What's the point? There's like this weird break where there's these choirs. I mean, I guess maybe it's the kind of True Confessions. You know, obviously, like, you know, going to mass, you know, having confession. I guess maybe it ties in with that, but it's just pointless and sounds rubbish. And again, it's like this really fucking lame attempt to sound kind of arty and weird. It's kind of like something that maybe like the Beatles might have done on Sgt. Pepper's. You know, like, you're not fucking Frank Zappa. You know, just fucking stop it. Like, it's just nothing really. It's aggressively boring. Not good at all. Danny.
I phased out at the start of this one. I was just couldn't. And then when I got back in, I was trying to think of what to say, and I was just like, "Oh well, there's backing vocals. They sounded fine. It was just such a boring song." And then I was like, "Oh, well, this is new." When like it does that big choir moment, but as soon as it comes back in with the chorus, it just becomes the most annoying song ever. It's above boring by the end. It's just awful. It just becomes grating. And
It is, yeah.
Again, it's really bad. It's really bad.
It's really
Alex?
bad. It's really, really bad. This is this is a really bad album.
I said something similar where I was like, I'm amazed that you can simultaneously write a really boring song but also a mess of a song like they do. Like, it's both just like freaking like it's messy but also like we've heard it so many times. This was similar to me like Radioactive, where it's just like it's such an old sound, and sometimes when we listen to these albums I'm thinking to myself, were the 70s like completely different to how I think? Because what is compelling these guys, not just Gene, but Kiss, to go back to this sound so often and believe, like, I really need to like research more, because I don't know why they're so adamant on doing this sort of music. Yeah, I don't have much to say. Like the backing singers are really trying, but like I said, what they're singing, just there isn't enough there. And again, Gene has no idea how to place any sort of emotion or any stakes into his lyrics or music. Like, this is another track where it's so unclear what the issue is or what he wants. Like, he uses these empty words with these boring ass riffs. Really, yeah, it's a bad song, guys. I agree. That's my true confession.
Yeah, fucking rubbish. Yeah. Living in Sin. I would like to go first. Is that okay? I'm not going to be very. I'm going to be very, 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 very
I'll beat you
on this one. I got past the spoken word bit and the fucking psycho killer talking head stupid fucking bass line bit. And then I got to the first line of the chorus, and then I stopped listening and turned it off. This is going in the bin.
Kiss bin?
It's going in the bin. This is...
Yeah.
It's just go and listen to it. It's fucking rubbish. It's not worth talking about. It's shit. Absolute shit. I've never finished it. Never got past the first chorus. I'm not... Why? What's the point? Got better things to do. Fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's caused me to have more disrespect for Cher. I'm very disappointed in Cher in this stage of her life.
Why?
Oh my god. just
why? For going out with him.
But yeah, for going out.
She comes
also
in
just
later.
To be a part
You didn't
of
get
this
that
song.
far.
Oh, she's on it.
Yeah, she's
on it. I didn't get. I never
really
got
did
to her
listen to
feature. No, I didn't. I'm being serious. Does she have like a verse or a chorus or something?
She's on the phone.
No, there's this
she calls
awful
Gene.
spoken word bit where they have a phone conversation. It's so fucking lame.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I didn't get that far. Fuck it.
It's
No,
such
why?
ego
Why was the
inflating
point?
Shit. Yeah.
It's going in the bin.
Yeah.
This is going in the bin. I will say though, I thought
If
the
you
part
like
where
this,
they go,
if you like this, if you enjoy this, you're objectively an idiot. There's no two ways about it. If you enjoy
I
this,
just
then
want to
you are
say, when
objectively
I
a
first
stupid
listened to
person.
this, when I heard the "Ooga Chaga" like behind the chorus, I did laugh. I thought that was funny.
I didn't get to that bit. There's an ooga chugga.
There's like in the chorus, it's not in the first chorus. It's in like the. I'm not sure.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah, at that part, at the back, I think it's some people going "Ooga Chaga," and I just thought that's so stupid. That's so stupid, and it made me laugh. So there you go, Gene. Good one, Danny.
This is the first one I've not written anything about ever. I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
It's so fucking rubbish.
So yeah, it's going in the bin. It's going in the bin. This might be the worst one.
Why?
Yeah, this might be the worst fucking song we've heard. Yeah, I fucking hate it.
I don't know if it's worse thing, because I don't know, in my opinion, I don't know if we're all in agreement. I'd say that Christine 16 is probably the worst. Is this worse?
I still feel great
they're worse
expectations.
for, they're
is
worse
the worst
for
song they've done personally, but
yeah.
yes.
I mean, they're worse for different reasons, though. This is just,
Why is it at the Holiday Inn? What's that got to do with it? Why does it say it's in at the Holiday Inn?
Just so stupid. It's so stupid. If you like this, I'm sorry, you're subjectively a moron. It's just like as well, to think that this is a man that, like, during Rock and Roll Over was going up to Ace Frehley and saying, like, your songs aren't good enough. Your songs aren't good enough to be on this album. One, this is Gene. Fuck off. You stupid. Rubbish.
Thanks.
Absolutely. You've made me want to listen to the whole thing now to hear the other channels. What is it? What's the bit with Cher then? Is it like a skit?
No, yeah, she phones up. They have like,
Yeah.
it's like krung, 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 and she phones like, "Oh my god, is this Gene? Do you hang out with your fans? Oh my god!" Like it's you can hear it's her as well. You can tell it's her voice.
Fucking hell. All right, in the bin. Fucking hell. Right.
Yep.
Always near you / nowhere to hide. Alex, I believe it's your turn.
Yeah, this one, no weird one. I struggle to get into this one. Like, I don't really know what he's going for. His voice does not sound good for this. The first half of this,
It
really
really doesn't.
struggles.
Does not suit him. Does not suit him
Yeah.
at all. Completely
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he listened to this and was like, "That's good enough," because it really doesn't suit his strengths at all. The sort of second half, I kind of like that he's trying something a bit different, but it doesn't work. I don't know what mood he's going for. The lyrics again are vague and weird, and I can't grab a hold of it. What the hell is the song? This is one I really struggle to write anything on, because I'd lose my attention, listen to it, and when I really focus on it, I just sort of like couldn't grab a hold of anything, except how much he struggles to perform on this one vocally. Danny, what do you think?
I just thought, nah, it's not working. This one, Gene. It's not working.
It's not working.
A song
is
like
it?
this.
It's not working.
It just, it needs some good lyrics, or it needs some good vocals, or it needs an impressive performance. Anything, a catchy melody, a good melody,
Yeah,
some interesting
I
chords.
just-
You need
I just-
something in a song.
But there's nothing there. I don't think
Go on,
there's anything there to be. I just think that there's nothing there to begin with. I don't know what he's going for.
Well,
I think
exactly,
the vibe
yeah.
is just
I said,
insane.
it's like, put in some effort. Stop throwing instrumentation at an unfinished song, at a subpar song, thinking that'll fix it. And the only other thing I thought to say was like the vocals at the end was like, whoa, Gene hitting some big old highs there. But
No,
what I've
he's
said
really
before,
trying.
what I've
Yeah.
said before, is it not him? I thought maybe it was.
It can't be. It cannot be him. Surely not.
Well, whether it is or it isn't, here's why I believe it could be, because and this applies to a lot of especially hard rock and metal singers. Just because you can go up there doesn't mean you should. I've heard it time and time again. Now, Paul is a good singer because when he hits those raspy, beautiful highs, he's got all the tone, the width of his beautiful voice is retained in those very high-pitched tenor notes, and it's beautiful. When Gene or not, whoever's going up there at the end with the it is not a good sound.
No.
Whether it's impressive technically or not, it is not a good sound. So this one's shit. Alexi, I'm done.
I completely agree with you. Like, even I'm almost certain it's not him singing it. It still doesn't work though. It still doesn't sound good. It still sounds bad. Like, the title filled me with dread. Luckily, it didn't really. Luckily, actually, it didn't kind of live up to being like this kind of rapey nightmare that I thought it was going to be. So that's, I guess, a positive. This is just warbly dross. It's unreal. It's just warbly, fucking boring, fucking guff. Again, it's like trying to be it's kind of like trying to be the Beatles, but if they were like taken over by the creatures from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know what I mean? It's almost uncanny, like what they're kind of trying to imitate them. His singing in the outro is just embarrassing, really embarrassing. It's the most like. It's almost like he's muttering. It's like he's muttering for half the time, apart from when, you know, it sort of gets to that climactic bit. But the point is, it's meant to be this big climactic moment. He's sort of muttering over it. He's just sort of grumbling. You know, there's a pomposity to this that really got under my skin. It's almost like he wants to, again, like, educate the idiot kids that buy his albums. And, you know, the kids that are like sort of wanting to buy his albums to hear riffs, to hear heaviness. And he wants to educate them with this kind of pompous shit. It's actively insulting to his audience, I think. You know, he sort of somehow, at least on this album, manages to do it both ways. He manages to insult his audience with just stupid shit like Living in Sin. But I think this is also equally as stupid. Because it's pretentious, because it's trying to be something that he isn't or can't possibly be. You know, it's quite exceptionally terrible, this, and I have no idea who the fuck it's for, at all. It's bad, very, very bad. Man with 1,000 Faces. Again, I think this is Sergeant Pepper or trying to ape Sergeant Pepper, but it's way more. Pretentious and pseudo intellectual fucking nonsense. I suppose in a way it is nice not to have sexist lyrics, at least on this album. I think on this album, compared to his output in the past, I'd say that the lyrics overall on this album aren't as sexist as they've been. But I'm not gonna lie, part of me is like, well, what's worse? Like, sexist lyrics or this kind of pseudo-intellectual fucking bollocks? Like, essentially what he's writing about is kind of like this storytelling technique, or it's like a story sort of theory, that there's only like one hero in fiction, essentially, or one kind of character type of hero, and that's Arthur from Arthurian lore. And
wait, what?
Essentially,
what?
That's the theory, yeah. Hero with 1,000 faces. So it's from a book. So the idea is that you know, you look at all like Luke Skywalker or Frodo or something like that. The idea is that there's this archetypal character, which is Arthur, and then all heroes and stories akin to that have.
Has he said this, or is it just like
that's where he got it from? No, that's where he got it from.
Oh, what?
The theory, the theory is called. Now, Alex, the theory is called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. That's where it's from. That's like the name. He's taken that for verbatim. And that's where he said it's from. I mean, it's an interesting idea in film theory or storytelling or anthropology or whatever. Is it worth writing a song about? No. You know, like, you're going to write a fucking song about the 3-act structure? No. It's very bad. Very, 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 very bad. Very, 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 very rubbish. Alex, I think it's your go. Yeah, Alex, you go first.
Well. Okay, you throw me a bit of that, because that is not what I got from this song at all. Because I was actually very disappointed with this song, because I was like, what I assumed the song was about him putting on the makeup, and like sort of that idea of like he's just a normal guy during the day, but then, you know, who's the man? He's the man who, you know, who can put on the makeup and be somebody else. Like he will turn. So that's how I took the song. And I was and I thought like, oh, that's actually something he could write about, and it could be like a very interesting point of view. The idea is just a normal guy by day, but then he puts on the Kiss makeup and then he's this rock star. Because he talks about like the lyric. I've got lyrics here like they're such first draft like lyrics, like barely any thought put into it. I walk the streets by day. I never know quite what to say. It doesn't matter anyway. And then just goes into the chorus. So that's what I thought the song was about, but if it's not, then whatever. Yeah, this one, he doesn't do anything with it. It's really like, if his influences are, you know, those Rubber Soul songs, White Album songs, Revolver, then surely he should understand that like part of what makes those songs great are sort of the imagery they provoke in the lyrics, or like the really interesting harmonies or something. And this song really has none of that. The chorus is very dull, and there's not much said. Even if I do think that kind of initial premise is an interesting one. Danny, please.
It started and I thought, the fuck is this riff? And more fucking string section came in, and then the brass section came in. They're all so unearned. It is. I know you mentioned you were hesitant to say pretentious, Alexi, but you know, pretentiousness is when you try to come across smart or intellectual and you fall flat.
Yeah,
and that's what this album is so often. So it is pretentious.
I agree. I think.
Off.
Yeah, I think pretentious actually. I think does get battered around a lot, but actually I think it's really apt for a lot.
I agree. Yeah,
this is that.
I think it is apt
if someone's like, "What's a pretentious record?" I'd be like, "This is a pretentious album. Very, very pretentious."
I think it feels much longer than 3 minutes 18 seconds. It felt so long every time I heard this. And the only other thing I wrote is just a quote from the lyrics. I could put on any face. You won't know me, but it's no disgrace.
Yes.
Oh, shit. What the fuck is that, man? Fuck off.
And also, the line after that is this terrible read where it goes, "The king of the night, he understands." And it's like, what? It's a terrible read, and it makes no sense. It's,
yeah. I don't know what the fuck this is. Oh, was that the last one? We've all spoken about this, yeah? Because I'm done.
Yeah, we've done. All right, next one is Mr. Make Believe. Mr. Make Believe. Danny, what are your thoughts?
I was getting a bit sarky and peeved at this point because I wrote, "Ooh, nice little drum beat there. Let's hope it's not a really fucking bad song." It's just embarrassing. This is embarrassing. You're not John Lennon. Fuck off.
I thought that. I thought he's trying to sound like John Lennon. Definitely, I could hear that. 100%.
He is. He's trying to do a sort of nowhere man thing.
Yeah,
it's so shit and embarrassing. The only good thing I could think to say was maybe this is kind of a bit progressive and forward thinking because some of the lyrics sound really gay. Which maybe he was doing a thing that maybe we're just not tapping into there. So I don't know, Alex. What do you think? I'm done. I've got nothing to say about it.
Yeah, this one is this one's longer than all the other songs as well. Or at least all like the other Beatley songs, and it just goes on and on. It's interesting you point out the drums as well. Like so much of this, you can really tell that he in the studio he was just like do it like the drum beat sounds like a Ringo type sort of drum beat like. I just put for this one. I just put needs help. Like this guy, like he clearly needs help with all of this.
Needs help. Like a teacher.
Requires improvement.
Yeah.
No, part of me, bless him for really, really trying this, but my God, no, it just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Alexi.
I mean, again, like Danny said, he sounds like he's trying to be John Lennon. There's a bit where he does a falsetto part, and I swear he's flat. It does not sound good at all. It sounds out of tune. It sounds he's pitched completely wrong. I suppose it's one of the better ones, I guess. It does have a bit more of a kind of dreamy quality to it, and I think, of all of his attempts to sound like the Beatles on this album, I think this is probably the closest he gets, but it still doesn't sound good. It still sounds dull.
Yeah, like I said with See You Tonight, if you heard this like in the background or like in a store where you're not really paying attention, you would hear it and you go, oh yeah, like you wouldn't be like, what the hell is this crap? You'd You just hear it and be like, oh yeah, that would have just been like a knockoff.
Yeah. You there was nothing that sort of leapt out as being like, oh, that is really embarrassing. That's really, really shit. I think maybe just the idea that he's obviously trying very, very hard to sound like the Beatles. That in itself, I guess, is quite embarrassing. But again, I guess it's refreshing to hear him not sing about sing about fucking, which is a sort of a bonus. But not much to say. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just boring. Really, really boring. Anyway, next one. See you in your dreams again. Because I don't know if any of you. I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is actually a re-recording of a song of Dress to Kill. Oh, is that right? Is it Dress to Kill?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Dress to Kill.
I thought it was Rock and Roll Over.
Oh, is it Rock and Roll Over? It's one of those. It's one of those. Because he didn't like how it turned out on that album, so he decided to re-record it for this album. Danny, what do you think of this song?
I mean, it's sort of a better version, but it's got lots of Gene on it. There's definitely more energy than the original version. It's better produced.
Yeah, that is true.
Backing vocals suit it. But it's got lots of Gene on it. Like, Gene is just... It really is a kind of... opens a window, closes the door, so to speak. It's just... You know, we get all this good stuff about it, but the heightened level of Gene really doesn't help. Especially his wannabe Otis Redding at the end. Very cringy.
Is
There's
that
also
him,
a
by the way?
Whitley guitar solo.
Is that him in the background?
I don't fucking know. I don't
No, that's not him.
Because somebody's,
That's
again,
not him.
hitting some highs. Is it not? Oh, there you go.
That's not him. That's not him.
There you go.
He has like two modes of singing, doesn't he? He's got his kind of like wheezy old man like "Ooh" voice, and then he's got his fucking, you know, rubbery fucking Rottweiler voice. Like, and if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick the wheezy old man one. Probably. I fucking hate it when he sings like this. It sounds just shit.
I think I'd go with the wheezy old man as well. I mean, there's a little widdly guitar solo that's alright. Probably one of the better guitar solos on the album, but I've really not written much for this album. This is the least I've written on all the albums. It's fine. It's sort of a better version, but also not, because there's more Gene on it. I don't know. Alexi, what do you think?
I think if you liked it the first time round, here it is again. Basically,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the production, like you said, Danny, I think you're right. The production is better. There's definitely more punch. There's more drive. However, it sounds very fucking cluttered. There's so much shit
Yeah, I wrote the same.
on it.
Yes.
It's so much shit on it, especially in the chorus. There's like you said, there's another singer. You saying like the kind of bullshit Otis Redding bit. I mean, I assume it's a guest star. I'm pretty sure it's a guest star. And he's just going rogue underneath, like he's really low in the mix, just going like see you, like that, and it just sounds really confusing.
That's true.
It sounds really fucking confusing and just messy. It also ends on a proper whimper. There's like loads of bombast. There's like a billion different parts just going see you, and then it kind of just dies. It's like you know, it sort of just kind of trails out. I didn't like it the first time round, and I don't like it now. Again, he sings it in that horrible,
I thought it was
ridiculous,
bin-worthy
stupid...
the first time round.
Was it?
I thought it was. I don't think you guys agreed. I think it's a shit song.
It's a really shit song. I don't know if it was...
Dreams tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Alex made a really good point about the lyrics being kind of strange because it's like I'll see you in my dreams. It's like I'll see you in your dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Still
Like,
weird.
it's just really odd. It's like fucking Freddy Krueger. Like, I don't know. I just hate that way he sings. The kind of attempts to be like menacing, kind of growl thing that he does. It's just incredibly rubbish, and it also sounds really silly on a song like this. Does not suit the vibe at all. It's kind of like this skippy kind of, kind of jaunty rock and roll, almost, I guess, bordering on power pop sort of song. And he's just going, just fucking, like, just not the vibe at all. No, don't like it. Didn't like it first time around. I don't like it here. I didn't bother to A/B the versions to see which one I prefer. I really don't think there's much in it though. This sounds incredibly clumsy and messy though, and that was not a criticism that I gave the first recording. I definitely wasn't like, this sounds kind of messy and all over the place. So in that way, I guess the one-off rock and roll over or Dress to Kill, whatever it's off, I guess is more streamlined and simpler, which might make it better. But I just think you can't polish a turd. It's just a shit song to begin with, and it's not going to get any better by just putting those fucking random cack on it. Alex.
Yeah, you guys have said it. I didn't like the original one, but I remember it quite well. And this one, I can acknowledge that it sounds, the production's better, it's a bit punchier. I think like the guitar sounds better. However, just like you said, it's very clunky and messy, and there's so much going on. Not in like an exciting way, but just in like kind of a bewildering way. That's all I've really got to say on it. And a strange choice as well. Like I think it's quite an interesting move to like take an old song from a band that you're still in and be like, no, I want to make this one better. We didn't see any of the other singers do that. I don't think so, do we? No.
No one did it.
Yeah. But then it's the penultimate track to send us off on a big one. So, next.
Yes. Okay, so Danny, you earlier for Living in Sin was saying that you made notes for that song. I've made no notes for the final track on this album, because the final song on this album is a cover of When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio. I just, why? What is this? I just don't like, it's bad. It's not good.
It's not good at all.
But I have nothing to say about it. I have fucking nothing to say about it. I keep saying this and it sounds like a fucking broken record. What's the point? What's the point? If I were to critique it, I'd say the orchestration sounds like, the instrumentally, and it sounds pretty faithful to the original, just with a fucking terrible singer singing it, and that's it. That's it. That's all you could say about it. What's the point? Right. That's it. I have no idea. No fucking idea. It's bad. Very bad. Alex.
Yes, I in terms of music, it's bad. It does not sound good at all. And so with this, I just spent my time thinking, like, what message is he trying to do here? What does he think he's achieving? And to me, all I can think of is that he clearly thinks he's so smart for doing this. So nobody would expect me to do something like this. I'll show him, sort of attitude of it. But especially on this sort of album where it's just been a mess throughout, and it's just been like all these different sort of sounds and styles that he's trying to go for, and to end like this, it just further just puts an exclamation mark on just how much of a mess this album is, because it's just so unclear what he's trying to achieve or like how he's trying to present himself. I don't get it. It's not funny. It doesn't sound good. It okay.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Not good.
Danny.
It's interesting you wrote no notes, Alexi, because I just wrote yep. Just
What are you supposed to do?
I think you've said it.
Just
Alex,
shrug.
you said a lot just now. You said a lot more than this song deserves. And I concur. Oh, I think what I will say, because no one's mentioned it yet, is that it should be in the bin. And I know you might think, oh, this isn't even worthy of the bin, like, why even bother? But I just think on principle,
Yeah.
on principle, this should be in the bin.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't know. My reaction to this is just kind of like, I don't know, I'd sort of shrug and go, can you turn that off, please?
Yeah, but I
Do you know what I mean? I'll be like,
Danny,
just
though,
shrug and go, like, the fuck
the
is
fact
that?
that they have made an unlistenable song. Like, you hear this, and after the first 20 seconds, you just go, yep, throw it away. Like, that deserves to be in the bin.
I think as well, in terms of like spaffing in the face of your fucking audience, this really does take it to another level. This takes it to the nth degree. It's really shit. I think, honestly, it should probably go in the bin. That's two
more
in the
from
bin.
this album could be in the bin.
I'm for putting it in the bin.
I'd put
I
more
think
in.
we all have to agree.
Always Near
which
You
one
should be in the fucking bin.
Which
Mr.
one?
Make Believe should be in the fucking bin. Let me see. The Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide, Mr. Make Believe, Tunnel of Love. I think I could be happy with that.
I think we put Tunnel of Love in there. I think we put Living in Sin.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Tunnel of Love.
Yeah, all three.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree to that. I'll agree to that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well then.
Right, they're going in.
That works.
Yeah,
Right,
they're in.
they're all in.
There they are. Boom.
Okay, so time for our closing thoughts, and we will we'll rank it. Aye. I haven't written it again. Again, this is bad trend this week. I haven't written any notes for this. For my closing thoughts. I'm just gonna kind of wing it a little bit. I think this is pompous, fucking weak. I think there's the songwriting on it is very, very, very uninspired and strange as well. There's a lot of bombast on this, but with no concept whatsoever. It's just kind of just throwing things at a wall and hoping that they'll stick. I think it insults its audience. I think that people going in wanting riffs would be absolutely devastated by this and would rightfully and should rightfully return it, because I think it's actually quite cruel. I really think it's like, particularly at that time as well. You know, I think it's pretty immoral. I mean, that sounds dumb. I think it's fraudulent. I think it's fraud. I genuinely think it's fraud, because you're a kid. You maybe don't have that much money, or you get some pocket money to buy a record, and you buy this. You just feel so fucking devastated and shortchanged and embarrassing, because this is being marketed to children, essentially, and you just be getting this Baroque pop nonsense. Like it's this, like when he says I wanted this to be the greatest show on earth, I kind of get what he was, I get that was the approach he was trying to make. 'Cause there's so much shit on it, choirs, fucking orchestras and stuff like that, but it just sounds incredibly dated. Very, 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 very hollow, directionless. His vocals from front to back are terrible. There are 3 really terrible songs on it, and its high points are serviceable at best, or just sort of inoffensive, just boring. For me, I would say that this should. I mean, it should. The problem is that, and I really mean this, I did come in with an open mind. I really did approach this with my working assumption is this is going to be the worst one of the 4, and probably the worst one so far. But I'm gonna go in with an open mind and maybe it will surprise me, and it just didn't. It's just quite gross, and horrible, and really pretentious. Really, really, really fucking pretentious. So in that way, I guess it's got to go at the bottom. But I guess, we'll have to talk about how it compares to Hotter Than Hell maybe in a bit. But I'd say Hotter Than Hell has 3 songs on it I actually did quite like, but definitely has worse production and more plod. But I'd say from front to back as an album, this is much. I'd say it's a lot worse. At least, you know, if you wanted riffs and you wanted hard rock, at least Hotter Than Hell would, ostensibly at least deliver. What do you think, Danny? What were your closing thoughts?
Well, I wrote something, but I wrote the smallest amount I've written yet on any of the albums for the conclusion. I think he is painfully uncool. I think he should not sing. I think
agree.
his songs are very weak. And I think this is miles below Hotter Than Hell. Miles below. I would put this as an easy bottom of the list for me. Oh, Alex, what do you think? I've got nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, I'm with Alexi in that it's at the bottom, but this album is boring and at times insulting.
Yep.
But that's not the main emotion I get when I listen to it. I'm just confused by this. I really don't understand what he's trying to go for in here, or what sort of tonal vibe he's after. It just confuses me. Like Alexi was saying at the beginning, that he was spending a lot of time with other musicians and actors and such. And yeah, if he's spending all his time with his other artists, you'd think he would be able to draw upon something. Like we talked about here, he's done these Beatlesque songs in here. At the time he was dating Cher, who had many sort of 60s hits, 60s style hits under her belt with Sonny and Cher. And, not everything Cher has done is great, but she's a unique artist, and she's written quite a few good songs in her time. And yet, even with that around him, he still manages to dull everything down and make stuff so boring and just really difficult to listen to. So, again, even though, you guys have said, just how plodding along this album is and how pretentious it can be, but I just come away with confusion. I'm happy to put it at the bottom. I agree with Lexi in the sense of with Hotter Than Hell, that was a difficult listen to, and they were all kind of the same songs. And like we've talked about before, there's always part of me, it's well, he at least tried a few different things, and at least the backing singers sound nice at moments, or the production's a bit cleaner. But what do you think at the bottom?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Okay.
It's got to be at the bottom. Surely.
Oh,
fucking awful.
Wow.
Really,
Wow.
really, really rubbish. Fucking rubbish. It's a shame as well, because I think people think obviously there's a bias there because we've hated everything that he's basically done
Yeah,
in the past.
you're right.
But there isn't. He's just, again, Danny, you're right. He's very uncool. He's fucking lame. He's a really lame wank person. That's it. We've gone through the solo albums. We've gone through the solo albums. So just quickly,
Damn.
to rank the solo albums, I guess then we've gone what? So I guess collectively, the assumption is Gene's is the worst, then Peter's, then Paul's, then Ace's.
I can't disagree with that.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me.
It's been an interesting listen, though. These solo albums have been weirdly fascinating. I'm curious to see how they go on from here.
I think that it's something that I guess none of us have mentioned yet, is that when we were listening to all the other albums, we were like, there are problems, but at least Gene doesn't show up every other track. or every third track or something like that. And I mean, again, that just, we talk about not having a bias towards this album going in, but the writing's just on the fucking walls when you're going, oh, well, at least Gene's not on it. And then you get an album of nothing but him from front to back. I mean, it was only going to go one way. The only way this could have been redeemed is if he got Paul McCartney and John Lennon on it to not sing backing vocals. That would have redeemed it slightly, I think, probably, if he'd succeeded. But no, it's dire, absolutely dire, and there's 3 songs now in the bin. But next time we've got Dynasty to cover. Kiss Goes Disco, and I don't know if you guys know this. There are only 2 Gene songs on Dynasty. Only 2.
Damn.
He's taking the hit hard then.
That's exciting.
No. Yeah. Ace sings more than he does on it.
Wow.
So that's made me quite excited for it. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. And normally we sort of finish off by singing a song off the record, but I don't want to do that with this one.
Not When You Wish Upon a Star. No, we could do another Disney song.
I don't want to hear another note of music.
Living in Sin. The Holiday Inn.
Ooga chugga, ooga chugga.
Finish with that. Ooga chugga, ooga chugga.
Okay.
Ooga chugga.
Okay, I'll have it stop.